I want to thank you guys for popping in or dropping in on this video, depending on the time that you are here. But I am extremely grateful for all of you and for having you in my presence today. I want to just let you know a little bit about me. My name is Nicole Maxwell, and I am somebody who helps people to understand what the decentralized metaverse that's coming is all about. So when I say that's coming, a lot of people do not say that, but I do say that because we know that the metaverse is not here yet. So all those people who are telling you that it is, they might be telling you something a little bit fictitious. But I want to tap in because I'm going to take things back a little bit. Before I started talking about the metaverse, I was helping people to become a little bit more technically savvy. That is where my name Technikole comes from. A lot of people know me from places like Clubhouse or LinkedIn or my own community, or wherever you might happen to see me, various places in the world that I've been through. Um, but it's always been important to me to kind of make sense out of technology and to help other people be able to do it as well. So that is what today's session is all about. So I'm taking things back a little bit to all my metaverse folks, all my metaverse fans that were expecting something metaverse related. This isn't unrelated to the metaverse, because if you know one thing, you know that I tell you that you have an opportunity to bring your business into the metaverse. And so, as a part of that, you're going to want to simplify and streamline things. And we're always looking for ways to do that. And one of the best ways in the world right now to do that is through Calendly. And though Calendly is not a decentralized application, it is one that many folks who are either in the consulting space or, really anybody who books projects or has team meetings, and you're kind of living outside of the corporate space, you're probably utilizing Calendly for something. So coaches and consultants and I've seen doctors even using Calendly. So it's great for teams, it's great for individuals, and is a awesome way to get yourself out there and be able to just ease yourself of some of the burdens of scheduling. But today we are going to be talking about one thing that the one thing about Calendly that has always driven me crazy, which is the fact that I am somebody who operates in many different realms. And so for me, I could never really utilize Calendly the way that I wanted to. I wanted to be able to send people to specific meetings if they had specific questions. And so, specific types of things that they were looking for. So if you were looking to learn the application Discord, I would send you to the Discord consultation. If you were somebody who needed to know about the metaverse and you were looking for an introduction for you or for your business or for your team, then I would schedule you in a different way. If you wanted to request me as a guest speaker somewhere, I would schedule you differently, and everything else was kind of a consultation. So, I didn't really have a good mechanism for doing that because I don't want to be giving people different links. That gets really tedious and is extremely difficult to track sometimes. And then, what about the people who want multiple things? Like, what are you doing there? And so, yesterday we got a great announcement from Calendly, and I took a minute and I just jumped in because I was so happy. And plus, it took my mind off of some other things that were going on in our space. But I want to go ahead and introduce this video. So this video is all about how to use Calendly routines. And my name is Nicole Maxwell. I want to welcome you to this space. We're going to spend about an hour, hopefully less, talking about how to use the Calendly routines, but I am going to do a tutorial. I think that it's important that before we do a tutorial, you understand the problem. So I just described it, but I really want to be able to show you what that problem is as well. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it. And we are going to tap right on in to what I have known for quite some time is a problematic issue that we have over here in Calendly world. So in most cases, you have a workflow. And that workflow is something that enables and empowers you to do certain things. A lot of people are utilizing either their domain to point people to things like Linktree, which is what I do. And then it doesn't matter how it happens. At some point, somebody asks you for an appointment, and you provide them with a link in order to be able to do that. Um, for me, what I was doing is using my link tree, which you're seeing right now. And the second item here was schedule an appointment. So people would be able to click on this, and then they would be routed to my scheduler. And my schedule looked like this. So they would go to metamindshift.com, and then they would click on schedule, and they'd be presented with this option. And so this option, one, I think is overwhelming, because first of all, let me say this in full honesty, this is the trimmed down version. I have several other things out here. I just didn't want to put them all out here for the entirety of the copycat world to take. But this was the core of kind of what I was offering. So one of each, but there were many different elements here because I was using them in different ways and kind of being very creative with certain things. And so whenever anybody would want something, they'd have to like kind of say, well, what is it that I'm looking for? And yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult. Like you should be able to say, oh, okay, well, I want a Discord consultation. Okay, well, that's going to be 15 minutes. And now you can click that and keep going. But sometimes people, like I said, they want multiple things, and it's really difficult to be able to drive them to that one meeting that makes it make sense for my schedule and theirs. And we end up talking for 45 minutes instead of 30, or 15 minutes instead of something that should have just been me pointing them to a link. So what I've done is using Calendly's new routing machine, or their new routing utility, I've gone ahead and I created my scheduler. So now when people click on schedule now, they come down here, they're presented with my schedule. And this is my website, just for full clarity. So you can find this at technikole.com. It is live right now. And I've inserted the Calendly routing utility that they've provided now. So now people are able to come in and they're like, okay, so I'm going to schedule my appointment, and they click the one that they want. And so here they get to pick whatever they'd like. So I want to understand the metaverse, or I want to understand Calendly routing. I want to learn all about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click there, and then I am going to submit. And so we'll change this to that, and we will submit. Okay. And so then once it submits, this automatically routes them to the type of consultation that they are going to be eligible for. So in this case, they're eligible to book a technical consultation, and they get to pick which day they want to attend, and then that pops out with specific hours. Now, this last piece, nothing about that has changed. The point is to route people where you want them. And so all I did was take that and pop it into my website. It looks kind of cool right now. And so, people have a better presentation for how to schedule with me. So like I said, they came out with this yesterday. I put this together yesterday, so it's not 100% exactly where I want it, but it does look pretty darn good. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be learning how to do today. So we're not going to use my my technical consulting business. We are going to go ahead and use my other business, which is actually in one of my clubs, and it's called Blackverse. But I'm going to show you how to set that up on a free account. So Blackverse, we do a lot of altruistic things, so I'm not looking to use the pro account. Plus, I think people should learn how to do this without having the pro account. So that's what we're going to do. So really quickly, I want to show what we're talking about, and that is here on Calendly. So Calendly, as I said yesterday, they came out with, and it's May 11th for anybody watching this in the future. Today is the 12th. They came out with the idea of routing forms. And so the idea is that you can have multiple things going on, and route the person to the exact place they need to be. That helps trim down the time that is wasted on your end and on your potential client's end. And it just feels better. It's just a better feeling for the overall process. So that's what we're talking about today. This actually is 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and play
People
that.
on your website want to connect with you quickly. And each visitor has unique questions and needs. And then there's your team. They'd be happy to help out, and they definitely don't want to miss any opportunities, but they also have to manage their time. The faster you connect your visitors to the right resources, the more time everyone gets back. With Calendly's routing forms, you can quickly qualify or screen someone with a question or two, then automatically direct them to the right team member or page. Let's say you're looking for a marketing solution that'll scale well for your growing team. Once you select your industry and company size, you're sent to a round robin of sales reps who are well versed in companies just like yours. Now you're an architect hoping to work with a lighting specialist in New York. To book a showroom visit, you select your role and region and arrive on a scheduling page for Martha, an account lead in the West Village. Within seconds, your visit is complete. Lastly, let's say you're a prospective student hoping to schedule an audition. After answering 2 quick questions, you arrive on a booking page for a local tryout. And your audition's next week. No more wasted time, no more missed opportunities. Count.
So I literally went nuts when I saw this yesterday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have got to figure this thing out. Let me dive in. A couple of things about me. So I have a history as an implementation consultant, and that is where you bring an organization from one space to another. So whether it's a merger and acquisition or just new business, somebody may be going from a fully manual process to an automated software solution. That's what I did. So I managed the whole thing, or the teams that were managing that whole thing. Um, so when enterprise companies would go from centralized, or I'm sorry, when they would go from a decentralized field office type of setting and want to pull all those folks into being centralized and reporting to the corporate, corporate big kahuna, that was something that I did. So those are the steps that I took. What that led to, or as a part of that, you always have to re-engineer the process. And so that's really what's at the core of implementation, is reworking a process, whether that be through software or through, kind of just a streamlined new process like this one. You have the opportunity to optimize. And how does that fit into the metaverse? Well, for those of you guys who aren't listening to the metaverse stuff, or who aren't interested in the metaverse, just hold tight for a minute, because I'm always going to talk about the metaverse. As you are beginning to kind of become decentralized, or if you're looking at the decentralized space, or you're starting those first steps in operating and learning how to bring your business into this metaverse space, you are going to have to do the same thing. So you are going to, or you should, need an implementation consultant to help you get through that. Now, they call implementation consultants certain things. Some are called specialists, some are called consultants. I was the director of professional service and implementation. There are lots of different labels for them, and the one I like the least is a customer success delivery manager. First of all, it's a really long title. Second of all, it puts the focus on strictly the customer, where a implementation consultant kind of needs to understand the full shebang, right? So it's not just, oh, we're aiming to please the customer. No, we have to do what's right for the business, for the software, for all the downstream teams, like the service delivery teams and steady state teams and things like that. So anyway, having said that, whenever you're changing a process, you need to evaluate it and be able to bring somebody in who can dumb it down. And that means not make it dumb, but really means to be able to get it down to its lowest level, make sure that there's no gaps. That is called a gap analysis, and then revamp it. And so those types of things are things that I've always done. And so when Calendly came up with this, it's like, yo, I'm excited because I love Calendly. I love what it offers. It's a great product to me. Do your own research. But yeah, I knew no one would have videos on this, or very few people would have videos on this. I'm sure, I've waited a day too late, and so there's going to be thousands, but hopefully you're enjoying this one. So I want to give you a second. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you are enjoying this so far. If you're not, hang tight because we're going to get going here in just a second. So what does a routine look like? I'm going to play this really quick snippet. And it's not very long, so it won't stay up too long. But this is an idea of what your routine can be. Let me see if I can get a bigger copy of that. There we go. Okay, so oops. So what's your routine? And actually, we're going to stop there. Okay. So what's your routine? So your routine is what's your, kind of the flow of your process. And so at a very basic, very high level, something that can fit literally every scenario, you have a process whereby somebody clicks, they click something, right? So they're going to click a link and they're going to take that first step to engage with you. And then they're going to fill out a form. They're going to make a selection of some kind, and then they'll be routed to your schedule. After that time comes, you will meet with that person. And so that's really all this little graphic is showing is, kind of that flow and how easily it can be done. It's important that you simplify your routine and be technically savvy in traditional spaces as well as in the metaverse. So what does that mean? What does it look like? Well, let's see. So we're going to pop into Calendly, not this one. We're going to pop on over to Calendly. And so for those of you guys who've never seen this before, this is Calendly. And what we're going to do, so this is, again, a basic free account. So there's literally only one booking type, but that doesn't mean that that's all I have to offer. That just means that I have one thing that I want people to schedule me for. And so what I really like about the routing forms is that Calendly has put in the ability to have different options available. So what do I mean by that? When you first log in, okay, so here's the training, the tutorial is going to start now. All right. So when you put in the when you're going to Calendly and you log in, you're going to see new routing forms, and then you'll see the little new icon there. So go ahead and click on that. And once you click on that, it'll say new routing form. This first step is you are going to name your form. So we're going to call this intake or intake. Okay. You can call this whatever you want to. Intake might make sense for you. You can call it onboarding. You can call it whatever you want to. You can call it engagement plan, something like that. Okay. And so now we're here. So it's important to kind of understand the screen. So you're going to have a couple of different things here. So up here at the top, you're going to have the name that you just gave it. Over here on the side, you're going to have the name that you gave it plus the word form. So this is the form. And then over here, you're going to have routing logic. So if I click over there, I need to have at least a question there before I can modify the routing logic. So we got to get to that point. All right, cool. So it may be beneficial for you to really sit down for a second and map this out. What does it look like? How are people going to be able to, to connect with you? You may already have that in mind. If this seems daunting to you, or you need additional support or help or training, use my form and fill it out, and then just select you want help with Calendly, and we can set up an appointment. It's going to be a service that I offer going forward. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, whatever your first option is. All right. So the first thing I like to ask people is, what is your name? I want to get to know you. And then they have options here. I always mark this option as required. Now you can choose between having one name or multiple names there. It doesn't really matter to me. Maybe you have a system where this stuff goes. So think about the downstream from this and what that looks like. I'm just going to click save. So now I've got name. I'm going to add another question, and that's going to be email address. I'm going to make that required. I don't need to do anything there. I'm going to add another one that's going to be phone number. I'm going to make that required because I want to make sure that I'm building up my CRM as well as supporting, kind of my ability to engage with my soon-to-be customer, right? And now you can also have a drop down. So do you like this? Is what I'm going to say here. Do you like this? And you're going to have answers. And so answer one is no. It's probably never what you want to put first because it's leading, right? You can put that there. You can make this required or not, okay? If you want it to be a text view, then you can look at it in that way. Just click this little button down here at the bottom. It's a little menu hamburger icon. You can choose yes, no, maybe, perhaps. And then we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I am going to say, I'm going to do something free form. So I'm going to have a short answer free form. So what is your favorite, if I could spell color today? Give people options. All right. So they don't have to fill that in. I did not make it required. Okay. So now anything that's required, if you're looking at this, you can go ahead and you'll see the little asterisk there. Like that's pretty common. They were really careful to do things that are common practice, which is great because it makes it easier on developers downstream. Okay. Next up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to swap this. In order to make changes, you're going to have to do one of two things. So if you want to change the placement of the question, you're going to drag and drop it. So drag it wherever you want it to go, up, down, and that's really what these little black arrows on this side are telling you. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it is faintly coming up as kind of a blue-green because those are my chosen colors. And then if you want to modify the question, though, you can go ahead and say, you can change the question a little bit and say, do you like this today? Do you like this tutorial? Let's say that. All right. And we're going to go ahead and save it and then click OK. All right. Okay, so now you can submit it. That doesn't change, but you can change the button text. So if I don't want to say submit, I can say send and then save it there. Okay, so just remember I did change that as we're going forward. All right, so now you can preview your form. I recommend previewing the form. So this is what your form would look like when your potential customer gets to you. There has been no routing logic applied yet, so that's why this is all you see. So this looks good. When you do the drop down, it shows up. Yes, there is a drop down there. The phone number field is already validated for you and has a country selection tool, which again, they have adhered to developer standards, which is great. All right. And we're going to go ahead and close out of that. And then we're going to go to the next screen. Permissions allows you to modify permissions. I won't go into that too much. But okay, so here's the meat of what's changed. Now we've created a form. So that forms allows us to get to this point here where, oops, let's go back. Let's redo that. All right, so this is the form that we've just created. We didn't create this particular form, but we created a form. So this is that part of it. On this one, I did not change the word submit. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to give options. So when someone wants to answer questions, you're going to determine how the routing is submitted. I think this is done in developer speak a little bit because it's not exactly intuitive. So just bear with me for a minute. Down here at the bottom, you have the fall case, or what happens if everything else doesn't work. So this is currently a custom message. You get to choose whether or not you want to send people who don't fit into any category to a custom message like this one, or you want to send them to a specific event type, or you want to send them to an external URL. All right. So you can go ahead and choose add a route. Okay, so add a route. Now you're beginning to create the actual routing process. So from here, we're going to say, add this route if, and we'll start at the bottom. So we'll go custom URL. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. So my custom URL is going to be blackverse.io, and we'll leave it at that. And if they say, do you like this tutorial? We're going to say, so I have two options here. So one is if email includes or does not include something, then you can do something with that. If the response to, do you like this tutorial, equals or does not equal something, then we can do something, right? So it's kind of that if then or type of logic. So let's actually go back a second, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this so it makes a little bit more sense. So let's go back here. We're going to go. So all I did was I went backwards. And so we're going to edit this form. I'm going to go ahead and delete the favorite color question. And then I'm going to change this to, do you know what decentralized metaverse is? Now I'm doing that because this is what my organization is dedicated to, right? So it makes sense, and I am going to make that a required response. So they have to tell me, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is? Yes, no, maybe. And then we're going to go back. Okay, so now we still have the same thing. I haven't done anything here. We're going to go ahead and add a route. Okay, so I'm going to go to external URL. And so if they do not know what the decentralized metaverse is, then we are going to send them to this URL. And so this URL is going to be https blackverse.com. Now, if the answer to, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is no, then they're going to be sent to this website. All right. We're going to save that route. All right. Now, if they say yes, and so we're going to go backwards a little bit. So do you know what the decentralized metaverse is? Yes. Then we're going to send them to our event type. And so if you have multiple event types, guess what? All of your events are going to be listed here, and you'll be able to select which one or ones you want people to be able to choose from there. So for me, because this is a free account, I only have that one meeting or appointment type. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose a 30-minute idea. Now, if I wanted to, I could say, if it's yes or no, then I want both of them to go to the 30-minute idea. And I could do that really quickly just by clicking or, and then I could select which logical parameter I wanted in here. And I can always add another question. And so adding another question helps us to further qualify what it is that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead with yes. I know that if they already know what the metaverse is, then I definitely want them to be presented with the consultation. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Oh, Sorry, we're going to cancel this for the purpose of this particular learning objective. And now I have two things happening. So if people respond to, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is? And they say no, they're going to be sent to Blackverse to learn more. If they do know, then they're going to be presented with an idea review. But I had three things in there. So if they are somebody that says maybe, then we're going to send them another question. And so we'll go ask another question. Or no, sorry. We're going to send them to a custom message. Okay, so we can go ahead and edit that custom message, and you can call this whatever you want to. You're going to say, please take a moment and tell us more. So this is the default of what it says. It says we weren't able to offer you any meetings at this time. I think that that's a little harsh. I like to be more comforting in my messaging. So I'm going to say, hi, person. That's not what I would actually put there, but we weren't able to offer you any meetings at this time. Please tap in to the Blackverse to learn more about the metaverse. And then I'll put our link. You can find us. Find us at blah, 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 blah. So we'll put in blackverse.io and make sure that that's a link. All right. So we're going to click link. And now it's going to be a URL they're asking for. This is your domain. And there we go. We're going to insert that. So now this is the message. I'm going to maybe bold that just for formatting excellence. And then we'll, of course, say thank you. And we'll do that. Okay. Okay, so now we have a message. So now whenever somebody chooses, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is? And they say anything other than, well, let me do that one next. So we're going to say is maybe, because that's the third option. Then they are going to be presented with this custom message that we've just put out there. All right, so we're going to save that. I'm going to add one more route, and that is going to be an event type, 30 minutes. And then if the question to email does not include at, so you can customize this, but I actually want to customize it so that if someone from within my organization fills out this form, and their email address is anything that's similar to mine, then I want to trash it, right? So I don't want to be able to do that. Like I want them to be able to get a customized message that says, oh, you're fired. So like if you work for me, you don't know what the decentralized metaverse is, that's it. We're gonna part ways. That's a joke, by the way. It's an inside joke, probably not funny to anybody who doesn't understand my logic and humor, but hopefully you got it. All right, so you can choose, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is not? And then they will say, if the answer is anything other than yes, then I can alternatively send them to a different meeting type or present them with a specific link that says, maybe HTTPS, what is a metaverse dot. Okay, I'm sure somebody already owns that, so I might go check after this. But yeah, so we'll do that. Okay, so that is how you do a two-factor or two it has two parameters to actually answering the question. So there's two factors that are going into where that person is being sent. Okay, and you can build that up as much as you want to. There are many, many different ways to do this. This is a very fun tool. But what I really, really like about it, again, is the fact that it's really easy to use. I just showed you how to do it in under 15 minutes. And I also want to let you know that you can customize your interest questionnaire, and this allows you to have kind of a buffer. So it's a catch-all. So anything else that happens in the course of this questioning, maybe you didn't build this out right, or something happens, you add another couple of different meeting types, then this happens. So anything that doesn't get sent to somewhere else or doesn't have a routing to somewhere else is going to be sent this message. So you can easily say, hey, we don't offer that service. Thank you for your inquiry, for inquiring, but we do not offer that as a service. Please check back in a few weeks. Thank you. Okay, so you wouldn't put that obviously, but you could put something similar, right? So think about your customer service at this point, what you really want to type in, what it feels like, what it looks like to you. All right. And then you're going to go in here and you're going to click save route. Okay. So you're saving the route. Now you have the option to preview the form. So this time when I preview the form, whoa, there's actually logic in here. So what's happening over here on the side? So right now you're seeing the results. So when someone makes a selection, they're being presented with the options here. So if someone selects maybe on this side or yes on this side, they are getting specific options, and it's not showing that right now because I went to the wrong thing, but this is kind of the routing logic. So these are all the routes that have been already set up. So now if I want to see the published form, what happened to testing the form? So, oh, that was my fault. I wasn't putting it in there. So if you're going to be doing the routing, make sure that when you get in here, you're able to test it. So you'll want to be able to test it, and you can just test that by filling in the fields yourself and then choosing an answer and then clicking send. So that's the piece I wasn't doing. Make sure that you click send. And when you click send, it will show and you will be able to be routed to the place where you need to go. So that's what you're doing. You're testing, are the actions that you're expecting to happen. So I don't ever expect anybody to be able to do these two things. Actually, it should be showing me this one because I am somebody who is a maybe, and I have technikole.com as my email. So that was kind of one that I threw in there. So the logic isn't 100% worked out on that. So I won't fault them for that. But it should be, if the email includes that, do you know what the decentralized metaverse is? And I chose it's not yes, which I did. I just selected maybe. Then I should be routed to what is a metaverse. However, what I think is happening, and this is why you kind of got to test it, is that it is choosing yes before it ever gets here. So again, remember we have these little arrows on the side. And so these arrows, the logic is sent in this order. So the logic starts out with routing it to an external URL. If they do not match. If they do match, then you're sending them that event type. So they would never technically get to this question because of the way that I have this organized. But if perhaps I put this up front, so like let's put this one first. then preview it. Now if I go Nicole, Mimi, that's fine. We'll just do that. And we'll go Technikole, and then we'll say no and send it. Yeah, so now it's routing it specifically to what is a metaverse. So that's exactly what it should do. And so this form, I would say, is good to go. And you are able to go ahead and edit the permissions on this form. So again, if you have additional users, you can pop them in there. If you don't, you're able to now share the form. So you're all done. So you have achieved success today. Hopefully this was helpful. In order to see the link, you're going to copy it. And then when you go there, you're just going to paste it. Now, when you paste it, this comes up as a plain form. There's a couple of different things that you can do. Let me do. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and include the headline and description. So back at the beginning in the intake form, you can turn on the headline and description. And so if I want a headline, you can say schedule now. And that's the words I'll put there. And then I can put some lorem blah, blah, blah ipsum there, except that's not going to work. So we're just going to copy and paste lorem ipsum 100,000 times. All right, there we go. Now we've got something really cool, and yeah, that looks great. That's just a quick way to get text in there until you see what you actually want. So now if I click share form, and I just let's say oops. Let's say that I copy this link and I put it up here in Google. Now this is what comes up. So now it's not just, kind of that drab looking image that you had before. All right, so or lack of image that you had before. So there are some really cool ways that you can utilize this that they've built into the functionality of it. So when you're here and you're at share a link, you can of course share that link, send that to somebody. You can also attach that link to a redirect. So for me, when you go to metamindshift.com, MetaMindshift goes to it goes to my scheduling calendar over on Linktree. When you click Linktree, then that presents you with my calendar. I'm going to actually be reworking that because less clicks is always better. Plus, traffic to my own site is always obviously the desired result. So the other thing that you can do is click on add to website. And so you have a couple of different options here, and you can see how people are using this on Calendly. So they're embedding it, they're adding a pop-up widget. I didn't actually go through this. So you can add text, which adds inline text that opens up a pop-up on your screen. You can add a widget, and that opens up a floating pop-up button on your screen, or you can add a routing form to the site. So if you add a routing form to your site, then you are going to, that's exactly what I did. And that is how I was able to come up with this. So this is a embed. It's a partial embed. I did an iframe instead, but that's what's sitting here. So I do have some development skills. I made this myself and popped it in there. I think it looks great. I really love everything that they did with this. I feel like this is a bug that will eventually go away, but it kind of drops out too far. And yeah, I'll tinker with that to see if that's my bug or their bug. I'm pretty sure it's their bug because it's an iframe. But anyway, all of that was technical jargon. I don't want to bore you with that kind of stuff because it's not relevant to what we're doing today. But you now know how to embed, you now know how to create your Calendly routing form. And so again, I want to stress to anybody who's watching this, if you did not know how to use Calendly before, if you were if you're using Calendly, but you don't know how to do everything that I just went through and you're really not sure, you don't want to mess things up with your own scheduling, reach out to me because I'm going to add this as a service that I do. And hopefully reach out to the Calendly community, because I think it's extremely helpful in getting people to adopt this new function that they've released. There are so many different cool things that you can do here, which will lead to, I think, better turnover, return on investment on things like LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, but Linktree, or whatever you're using to present your uh, full list of services to your community, as well as getting um, more targeted traffic to specifically where you want it to go. So if you have something like, let's say that are somebody who, you blog, or you have an event coming up, being able to send people to that event is going to be so cool. And then you can use that events page to send them back to your calendar. But it really just gets some things going. So I think that, like I said, there's a lot of different opportunity for us as creatives in the space, as creators in the space, and as people who are trying to be more flexible with our own time, as well as keep our customers and community engaged. So anyway, I wanted to just put that out there. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget that you can reach me at any one of these links here. You can also reach out to me at learndiscord.com, technikole.com, and blackverse.io. The best way to connect with me is, of course, to go to metamindship.com, because I believe wholeheartedly that you can be technically savvy in the future of the decentralized metaverse, and I can show you how. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you did, pop your comments, your questions, and everything else into the comments down below, and I will be reaching out and responding. So thank you guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your evening. So we're supposed to play some outro music. What happened here? So yeah, anyway, thank you guys. Bye.